The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Hello and
Hello.
That's nice. Hello and welcome back to the Potty Plotters Plotcast Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 16. I'm Julia.
And I'm Elaine, and you got that right.
Thank you. Okay. And I was just thinking, Elaine, this year is already running away with us because in this episode we're going to be talking about all things bright and beautiful on the plots, connecting it to the RHS Chelsea Flower Show. Are you sure that was a year ago that we went?
I think if you were to ask some people...
well, you see, so it came up on my social media memories. Because I was scrolling back over social media and found a memory, and then had to go back over my photos. It is a year since I drove us to London.
Yeah.
I got us to Chelsea.
You did.
And then I lost you.
Yeah, we're a bit like that. We're a bit like naughty children, aren't we? We needed reins.
I was thinking of that, actually. I was thinking, can I get some reins for next time we go anywhere? Those elasticated ones I can just pull you back on.
Yeah, we could do with some on you, because if my memory serves me right, Gareth, you were off like a galloping horse, and me and Julia were trotting on behind you.
He forgets our age, doesn't he? Yeah.
Not inside Chelsea, just getting to Chelsea. Once we're inside Chelsea, I'll just let you two go free.
Yeah, it was good.
Just stayed in the media place because it's quite nice.
Potty Plotters go wild. We were at Chelsea, weren't we? But we're not going this year, are we?
No, we're stopping at home.
Yeah.
There's too much to do anyway.
There is too much to do, and we've got that many flowers on our plots this year that I don't think we need to go.
No, so instead what we're going to do is talk to everybody about how you can create your own Chelsea.
Oh.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that Chelsea pensioner?
Oh, yeah.
Tell you
I had an invite, didn't I? Back to his room.
Got hands everywhere, hasn't he?
I know.
Gadzooks. Anyway, that was when you left us, Gareth.
When you say left,
yes,
I had to
you
go and do
abandoned
something.
us.
No, I had to go and do something else.
Yeah, anyway. So, how do people get in touch with us? Because that's what we're going to do, isn't it?
So, if you have any questions and you'd like to get in touch, you can do via our social media channels. That's Facebook, Instagram and X at Potty Plotters, TikTok at The Potty Plotters. You can email us naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk, or you can check out the website pottyplotters.uk. And if you're enjoying what we do and you'd like to support us to keep us going by buying us
tea,
coffee,
cake,
cakey, donutty, crispy, sandwichy, full-on lunchy, 50-course tasting menu-y.
Gravy.
No, I couldn't manage that much. 50 courses, no.
Have a go.
Then you can leave us a tip on ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. We will love you forever, and you'll get a massive shout out on the podcast.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
I expected, naively, when we went to Chelsea last year, that there'd be tea and cake for everybody and that it would be quite sumptuous and gorgeous.
Well, there was, but it was costly at the same time.
It was very costly.
If you remember when we were in the media...
Yeah.
In the media tent. Was it the media tent? No, it was media
greenhouse.
No, it was the media greenhouse, really, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And we went in there because we'd been the previous year, but it was the day before everybody else arrived. So we arrived and we were expecting it's here's tea and coffee on tap, and it was on tap, but then they took your credit card off you afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. We thought Celebrity Day, they'd just be like loads of freebies to drink, but no, you have to have a special pass to go in that lovely restauranty area. So no, we never got anything. And I mean, I was most delighted to see that they've got Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, that was
proper
good.
tea, but I mean, they've got one of them very fandangled coffee machines in the press area that we couldn't work.
Perhaps to keep people like
we
us,
were much
common people out.
And we were much better when we went up to Tatton, because Tatton had just got a tea urn.
Yeah.
And I can work one of them in.
I think that's what we'll do. We'll go up there in July.
Yeah.
Day trip.
Yeah.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Potty Plotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
So all things bright and beautiful then, Julia?
Yes.
Can you not sing, please?
No, I wanted to, but I won't.
No.
Okay then, so we have been planting loads and loads of flowers. It is the changing face of allotments, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I think it's about, a lot of people are conscious about pollinators and giving them a wider range, but also I think with the kind of more ladies taking allotments. I think it's not just the flowers for showing. I think it's the cut flowers. I think it's just to make your environment more, I don't know, more welcoming.
It's softer
Yes,
as well,
it
isn't
is,
it?
yeah.
I mean, we can all do a row of this and a row of that, but it's much better to do half a row of this, half a row of that, and then put a dahlia at the side, get that in, and then you can give the flowers away.
Yeah.
And that's what's so lovely, that when the neighbours see you coming down the drive yet again with another cartload of runner beans, broad beans, whatever,
Courgettes,
in the end, they shut the door, don't they? But go with flowers, and people open the door to you. So why not? So maybe we should be asking ladies who have got allotments and gardens to tell us all about what they are growing, what they've had successes with.
Oh, I mean, there might be men. I mean, if you think of Callum on our site, he loves his flowers and he's creating his flower garden. So, you know, I suppose it's a bit of a generalisation to say ladies, but certainly there has been a change, I think, in allotments in the fact that it's got a lot more flowers. And as you say, we're growing a lot for cutting, for giving away, because we like to. So not only can we sit on the plot and admire them and love them and everything, but we can keep cutting them, because the more you cut, the more you'll get. But then we can give them away to people, and we can give them to local churches and local charities, and they can raise money from them or just make their areas look nice. So what's not to love?
Well, I think that we ought to start promoting different flowers that have been the underlings. So the first one I'm going for, Julia, is the zinnia.
Oh.
Now, a zinnia looks to, well, there's so many different varieties, and they're all different heights and different colours, but the way I would describe them is they are like a flower within a flower. So the outer flower is probably around 3 inches in diameter, and then so you can get them, as I say, in all different colours, and then you end up with another flower in the middle of it, sort of thing, and they look like a very small dahlia. But they are gorgeous. As a cut flower, they do extremely well. And you always take them when they're not wobbly on the stem.
No.
I don't know if you know that, but if you wobble the stem and the head moves, don't pick it. When you wobble the stem and it stays firm, that's the time that you can pick it.
Oh, I didn't know that. You've not told me that before. Thank you very much.
There you go.
There you go. So, yes. And of course, again, the more you cut, the more the plant will put into producing more flowers. So I've got a variety this year of the zinnia called lime red, and it's kind of a very greeny limey colour. That's quite interesting. So yes, I am going with the zinnias. And I mean, you know me, I love the snapdragons, and I've got so many different varieties of the tall snapdragon because I think they're beautiful for any arrangement. But also I'm going to have a whole bed at the front of my plot full of sunflowers, but I'm going to have all different varieties of sunflowers, so the tallest right the way down to the tiniest at the front, so it will just be a sea of sunshine at the front of my plot.
Oh, that sounds nice. So we've got zinnias, we've got sunflowers, we've got snapdragons. I'm going for scabious as well. Now, scabious is quite a fluffy flower, I would describe it as, and the variety that I always go for is called ping pong, and it's actually a very pale pink in colour, and it looks like a pin cushion, I would describe it as, and again, it's round about 2 to 3 foot in height. The great thing is it's beautiful as a dried flower, and most florists actually want not the flower of the scabious, they want it as the dried flower. So that's what I'm going as my number 2. Well, when I say my number 2, that doesn't sound right, does it?
No.
But anyway,
rephrase that.
Yes, that's what I'm going for. My favourite second one. Well,
what else am I doing? Well, I'm going to do some echinacea. Now, I've already got a lot of echinacea on my plot, and if you think of that, you're probably thinking of the pink ones. They're almost like a cone on the top, and then they've got like little
leaves
pink petals all the way around,
yeah.
and I love them. The bees love them, and the beauty is they are a perennial, so what they do is they literally will come back every year, and they of course spread into clumps and you can separate them and make more. But this year I have sown, and I've already got some successfully growing, of the white echinacea. So I've got one called White Swan, and I saw it, I think it was on Eric and Jackie's plot, and I loved it, and I thought, right, I'm going to grow them. So I've got some of them growing. I've also got some Rebecca, which again is a perennial that we've got, and the one I've got is called Sahara Sahara. And it's it's almost like in the same colours as sunflowers, I would say, but smaller, and that's what they look like. They just look like smaller sunflowers. So I'm going to grow some of them as well.
Okay, well, I've got to the side of me over here. I'll pull them over here. Now then, I've got cosmos. Yeah. Now, what's made me smile is that some people call them cosmos.
Cosmos? Yeah. A bit like dahlias.
Dahlia's darling. We're not got onto them yet. But cosmos.
Oh.
Now then, my cosmos are actually into flower.
Yes.
And what I did was I pinched out a couple of weeks ago all the tops of the cosmos as they were growing. Now these grow like a sort of a fern. They look like a carrot leaf actually, don't they,
and
to start with?
Actually looks nice in an arrangement, doesn't it? It's a bit of a different shape.
But you can see that these now in the cell trays are ready to be potted on or to be put out into the garden. And by taking out it was the only stalk at that time, taking it out, you can see now, Julia, how these have split and they're all bushing. I've got not sprouts, but I've got them sprouting from the bottom, and I've also got them as a little bush on the top as well. Yeah. And they're in bud. So I think it's time for those to go out. And this variety, I've just get the label out because I did so many, and this one's fizzy purple. So it is a purple-headed flower, and again, I think that will look lovely in amongst all the other flowers.
Elaine, will you be supporting any of these flowers? Because obviously when you're making them into arrangements, we want a nice long straight stem. So are you going to do anything to stop them flopping over and kind of bending the stems or anything? Yeah,
well, what I'm going to do with these, for instance, is I'm going to be planting quite a lot of them in around the middle of the alliums that I've got. Now, the alliums have already got purple, lovely floral heads on them, and they will be there for some time now, right the way through until July. So I thought that they would be supported by those. Okay. Other than that, I'm just going to put some, if I said sticks, it's wrong because it's 3x2 wood. Right. I've actually got them already in the raised beds, and what I'll do is I'll put a string round the whole of the bed so that they all support one another actually.
Yeah. Well, I've got some netting, I suppose netting that you would normally put to climb up. Okay. So it's like 10 centimetre squares on the netting. But what I'm going to do, instead of dangling it vertically, I'm going to put it horizontally, and I'm then going to support it with some canes, so that the plants can grow through it, and also they're supported a little bit. So hopefully that will keep them from blowing over and bending the stems.
And the last thing that I'm going to put out very shortly now is my dahlias, or dahlias as you've said. You know, there are so many different varieties and they're desperate to get out, and let's get a show, because in a few weeks' time we will have our own Chelsea. Not quite as posh, and it won't be as really as expensive. Do you think?
No. Now, are we having any celebrities coming down? Do we know any?
If you'd like to support the podcast, you can leave us a tip at ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. That's ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. And we'll love you forever.
Right then, Gareth, have you been in Julia's polytunnel earlier on?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Shall I take a tour?
Well, I think that you should, because Julia's still got no sense of smell or direction, but that's another story when we ended up this last week.
Hang on. The sat-nav is pointing that it's only over there.
I know where
we got lost.
The polytunnel is. I know where the polytunnel is, but no, I can't smell all the beautiful things that are in there. And I know what you're going to say is, I planted my sweet peas in the polytunnel, and everyone who is going in there is telling me that the smell is hitting them as they're going in. Unfortunately, I can't smell them, but I can see them. Yes. And they are really, really now way ahead of what is outside, because you've only just planted yours outside. And remember that the polytunnel gives you that extra 6 weeks at the beginning of the start of the season and at the end of the season. And of course, the beauty of it is it protects things from wind, so it doesn't damage them with the wind.
It's made a massive difference though, Julia. I mean, they have shot up. And Gareth, you need to look, because Julia's actually put some in a container and you've made it like a wigwam. And again, they look amazing. And then you've done a whole row of them, and it's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it?
And they are a traditional traditional kind of allotment plant, aren't they? And we love them, and we've been saving the sweet pea seeds for at least, this must be about year 5 or 6 now with these ones. And they've got really nice, strong stems. And of course, we've been out doing the talk, showing the demo on how to do the container method that we use to pre-chip them. And it's fair to say that my plot has resembled a garden centre for quite a while.
It has, and they look particularly strong. They look extremely well, and already it'll be a time.
Tell you what,
traditionally.
you keep talking.
Okay, then okay then. Are you going?
A break with tradition.
Oh my word! It's going into the polytunnel. Okay, then.
Okay.
We can say what we like now.
We can,
I was going to talk about the everlasting sweet peas.
Oh yeah.
Because on mine, I've got a double arch of everlasting sweet peas. So they're the ones that come back every year, and I do grow them from seed for other people, but I don't need to grow anymore. It's a double arch, and it's always full of sweet peas.
Been talking about me?
No, not yet. He's back.
I'm back.
Wasn't long, was it? We were just talking about the everlasting sweet peas, which grow on my plot, but they've only just started.
So they're not everlasting then?
No, not yet, but they will be very shortly. But they don't have any smell. But again, they do need being trained, and Julia's trained hers. What did you think of the polytunnel?
I think she's right. It resembles a garden centre.
Yeah, it does.
But it smells great.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it is
You're missing
worth
out.
doing
I
it.
know, I know. It's frustrating, but
Damn
there you go.
COVID.
But I'll tell you what, Gareth, we've got a full tray's worth of sweet peas that you can take home, and whether you or Alison would like to plant them.
Well, it could be Alison.
Yeah, but they are. You can put.
She's just found out by listening to this.
She's got some work to do, and she needs to plant them in a really big pot if she can get a big pot, and then create a wigwam, and they will soon get going. They need the sunshine. If you can move them away from a windy area, they don't like too much wind, but you will soon have that smell all over your garden.
It is lovely, and all that they need is something to climb up, and they need to keep their the roots damp. They like to have a cool feet, and they like to have their feet in the sun. So if you can do that somewhere on the garden, that'll be lovely.
I'm sure we can.
Okay, you heard it here first.
In the last episode, you'll remember that we caught up with friend of the podcast, Lee Norbury. And he was telling us about going it alone and designing his own gardens for the shows at Tatton and Hampton Court Palace. And if you didn't hear part 1, head back to the episode 15. And in this part, he tells us what challenges he had growing the plants he needs for the shows this year.
Well, being in Shardlow Great Wiln, it started off late October. We were waist deep in water, and the nursery, even though it's at the highest point and it's actually on the flood bank, before the EA put the flood bank in, it's still on the highest point because that's where farmers knew to have their cattle for winter, and it actually doesn't flood, but the sheer amount of rainfall meant every day you're in 3 or 4 inches of water. And so that means your polytunnels are 3 or 4 inches underwater. And then came storm. I think we've gone from A to Z, from A to what we're on now, Kathleen last week. I'm sure there was a J that wasn't even on the news because that came straight after Kathleen. I lost all my polytunnels, my protection. Every single pot for this year's herbaceous growing that I've grown from last summer, 2 litre pots, were sideways or in the hedge, and then it's just flooded every 3, like yourselves. I've seen the photos of you sending me and texting me, and we just it's like going back to the 70s, the winter of discontent. In another manner. But it's a battle. And so when I went to the seminar for the RHS for the shows, and me being a newbie trying to learn stuff, is that, and you please fill this in. Lovely jubbly. So what challenges have you faced this winter? And it gives 2 lines. And I just went, text me. And in fairness, I often do things. I'm a curveball. I'm a bit quirky. I often write things down on these things to see whether people read it.
That's good.
And
idea.
they went straight away, well, go on then. And I got a follow-up text.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, your nursery's new for the RHS this year. We embrace new nurseries. You're one of very, very few new nurseries.
Yeah.
Commercial nurseries. There's none.
Yeah.
Everybody's retiring, everybody's stopping. But actually, I actually quite like the fact that they did actually read it.
Yeah.
And then when it's just...
But the question is, will you have anything by the time it comes down to RHS Hampton Court Palace, their flower show, and or Tatton? I mean, I know that they're further into the year, but will you have anything?
I think by growing the amount of varieties I've grown, I know what I want on my display. So there's already 2 Big X. They're not going to be ready. They're not.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a little bit quirky, more on the herb side.
Yeah.
Because to match the 5 senses, it's a decahedron basically. My display is a decahedron on a big circle, on a big tabletop.
What's a decahedron? Is that like a
10-sided.
dinosaur?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Much like its designer. So there's 5 senses, and there's then 5 shelf units of the life and times of a vegetable. So at the bottom is seeds, week old, 3-week old, 5-week old, mature plants. Now obviously that change, lettuce you could sow and have a lettuce in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
In perfect conditions. Tomato is 16 weeks, whatever it might be. So it goes right. Then I thought, well, we've got to chuck a few herbs in there. People like growing. So I was invited to do the urban show, the new RHS show in Manchester.
Yeah.
I can't do 3.
No.
Even I will go, I can't do 3. But I thought, well, chuck a few herbs in there. And I thought, well, I'm not just going to do the normal herbs. Actually, some of the herbs are banned from RHS shows.
Oh.
Because of diseases, things, la 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 la. I'm very lucky that everything I do is English seed, English cuttings, English plants. So I actually have my first AFA plant passport inspection on Wednesday. I don't really need a plant passport to act, but this is what surprised, and this way I think, we live in a mad world. The lady that's coming to see me didn't even know that I need to provide a plant passport to show at RHS shows. I know, so I've had to tick it.
Yeah.
So I just went, I'm going to have lots of things, and I'll grow too much.
Yeah.
You'll have more.
That's okay.
Other allotments will have more.
Yeah.
Schools will have more of the early stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have enough ready.
So you're hedging your bets, aren't you? You're just making sure that you've got such a broad span that you're going to have something.
Because I haven't gone for this 2-species display.
Yeah.
I've gone for a multi-display. And lots and lots and lots and lots of
So if we
varieties.
could play at being God, which would be very dangerous.
Well, you think you are.
But if it was that we could grant you a wish, what would you now wish for over the next few months in order that you get ready for Chelsea? Because, sorry, not Chelsea. If you could have whatever you wanted, what would you actually wish for now, weather-wise, so that you're ready for the shows?
15 to 16 degrees, average, cooler nights, rain twice a week, in simple terms.
Have you got a direct line?
That'd be lovely. We know a few weather people, don't we? But that's not worked so far. We've got no
like
influence
I said to you
over them.
before, when we were walking around your setup, your marvellous, amazing setup, we need rain.
Yeah.
We do need water. We do need sunshine. We need everything. But we don't need the extremes.
No.
But in fairness now, if I'm doing this, I've got to get set up for the extremes. So the polytunnels I built, I need to build bigger polytunnels, more protection on certain things because that's all we get now is the extremities.
Well, all I can say, Lee, is we do know our way around an erection, and we did build a big one, didn't we, Elaine?
We did, and we don't mind helping wherever one's concerned.
Well, we did one that was 16 foot by 30 foot, so that's quite...
So the show tunnel, as it's now called, or it's now been nicknamed the bake-off tent, it was built because we're trying to construct the actual stand, and I can't work outside.
No.
And what I built wasn't big enough, so I put the bake-off tent up, just so that all my saws, table saws, chop saws, are all set up in there to carry on tweaking the actual stand. Never mind the plants, is because I couldn't work outside because every day it was raining. So
funny world, isn't it?
Well,
remember last year?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Boiling, and we were all moaning that actually it was far too hot and not enough water.
But on the build up to Chelsea, we were knee deep in mud. We were knee deep in mud pumping out.
It's nothing but a challenge.
Well, all I want to say, Elaine, is I think if anyone deserves success, it's Lee, because he's really had to face all the challenges. His enthusiasm is infectious. He is a little bit bonkers, and I think that's what's keeping him going. But I really hope that it works out for you, Lee, because I do think, you've worked for it, you've earned it, and it is a dream of yours. And I think next year you will be at Chelsea. Come hell or high water, you will be there.
Are we going to sort him an erection out?
I think we can manage that.
I want you at Hampton and Tatton. You are welcome to come.
I think we can book a day off, can't we, Elaine?
The beauty is this year, I'm in charge of tickets. I don't have to ask anybody for tickets. So please.
We desperately want to do Hampton Court.
And please come and have a look at the nursery.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
And you just wanted to do a quick update on the dahlias. Now, obviously, I just want to share some sad news with you, Elaine.
Oh, no.
It really is sad news. Well, normally, every year that we leave our dahlias in the ground, we just cover them with compost or leaves or whatever, and they re-emerge every year. But this year we've sat underwater. We literally have sat underwater. The water levels have never dropped, and so my dahlias have been just absolutely decimated. So I used to have 2 rows in front of the
summer house headquarters.
No, I have dug them up, and they are all completely rotten. So, well, do we need an excuse to have some new dahlias? No, I don't think so, and it's rather fortunate that they were on half-price sale. So I topped up when I realised, and we're good to go. So now I've got them in my pots. They're starting to shoot, Elaine. What should I be doing with them?
Right then, mine, on the other hand, I bought quite a few and smuggled them up to the allotment.
Yes.
And I've got some now, as you can see in front of you, that are around 6 inches in height in the greenery, because they've really loved the sunshine, because that's where they originate from, sunshiny places like Mexico. So all that I'm going to do is, you see the size of the pot, which is quite big, around 10 inches. What we're going to do now is we're going to go onto the raised beds. We're going to dig a hole big enough for it to go in, and then I'm going to plonk it in. I'm not going to add any muck to it, because in the bottom of my raised beds I actually put leaf mould, and I actually put horse muck.
Right.
So all the nutrients it needs is going to be there. Now I say 1, that's 1 I'm putting in, but I'm going to put 6 in each of the raised beds. It's going to be busy, but they will look glorious. Now they do need staking, because all the varieties that I've got are around 4 to 5 foot.
Okay.
And if it is that it does get windy, which we do anticipate, unfortunately, if they break, they've had it. So we'll look after them instead. That's what I'd recommend everybody did.
And if you miss any bits of it, don't worry, I've just taken a cutting. Anyway, thanks to Lee again for giving up his time to chat to us, and to everybody for listening and for getting in touch. And remember, you can get in touch, and we love to see any of photographs that you've got. Tell us what you're up to on your plots. Tell us any challenges, any questions you've got. We're here to answer them, and hopefully give you a bit of moral support along the way. Right, next time we'll be looking at taters, parsnips, peas, and anything beginning with P.
But you just said taters.
I didn't read further along, so potato.
No. And what you have forgotten is that you have admitted a crime in front of everybody. So the P that I'm thinking of is, Julia, prison. Oh, goodbye.
The Plotcast podcast with the Potty Plotters is an Amberland Media production.